Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Click R3, number 27. It's been an interesting couple of weeks, I will say, whether it's at too many games or Sony putting games at different places we weren't expecting, and then seeing Ghost Yotei, and of course had to break it all down. The usual with me, Mr. Ryan. Ryan, how we doing?
Hello. Yeah, we got a lot going on, John, ever since we got back from TMG. A lot of crazy stuff happening in the PlayStation world, huh?
I know, right? I was a little surprised to see some of this stuff happening, but it's always good to have stuff to discuss and talk about. So I don't mind it.
Yeah, we're playing a lot of Death Stranding 2 on the beach, and John's over here he was actually at the beach.
I was at the beach.
Literally.
I was there.
2 days.
I was there. Yeah, it was nice. The thing is, I like the idea and the concept of the beach, but then you get there and you realize how much sand there is, and it's not as fun.
the absurdity of what you just said. It all seems nice in practice, but then you find out there's sand there.
Dude, there's so much. Like, that's the thing. You like, sand looks great, but then you interact with it, and it's like, man, there's a lot of sand.
What does that even mean?
I mean, but you walk away from the beach, and the sand follows you.
Well, that's the worst. Not the sand. The sand's fun when you're at the beach.
Yes.
The parts when you leave and it comes with you a little bit. That's what
it follows you all over the place, like up to the hotel or everywhere. You're like, man, there's still sand on me. Like, it's, you're looking around, you're like, how's there still sand on me?
You're still gonna find it in your car for probably the next 6 months too.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like the concept of the beach, and I did take the drone there, and I got some high sweeping shots of the beach, which looked cool.
Really? What do you use those for? John's out here with a drone.
I've had a drone. I found there's like a DJI like mini 4K. It was on sale last year. I think it was last year. It was on sale, maybe the year before, and I got it at a decent price. I was like, maybe I'll use this at some point. I really haven't. And then I was like, we're going to the beach. I'm going to take that with me. So I went out to the beach with it, stood there, dropped it on the ground, and just launched it in the air.
Oh, see, that's the thing. I had one too, a DJI. I forget. I think it was like a Mavic Pro or something.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, like, oh, this would be cool for like vlogs or something. But then I'm like, oh yeah, I don't do that. So
yeah, that's the thing. Well, now you kind of do.
Yeah, now I kind of do. Well, I think that'd be a little bit too high of production value to be using drone shots on retro game stores. But I sold that thing like 3 years ago, so I don't have. Yeah, well, I wasn't using it, so
I thought it'd be good for like family vacation stuff. To be like, oh, I can send it way up in the air and get some cool. I got some pictures and like a couple minutes of 4K footage. It looked cool.
That's such a 2025 dad things. All right, kids. Let me just set up the drone here. Stand back. I'm launching it now, kids.
Yep, that's it. That's it. Hey, it's better than the old the VCR cameras that the parents used to have to walk around with, like on the shoulder.
I would think that's actually better, but I don't know. Maybe that's because I grew up in that time. So
it might be cool to get one of those just to see like the retro look. Just record stuff with it at like a family event, just to see how retro it looks on a CRT or something.
Very retro. It'd be a pain in the ass to try and convert it down the road, and then everyone's like, "What? Why is the quality of this so bad?"
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, well, you'd have somebody else doing, documenting stuff with their phone or something. I don't know. Something about having that clunky. You gotta like eject the VHS and it kicks the side out. Get the other VHS in. I don't know. That's fun.
I'm glad we're starting this off in a very appropriate way. Hey. You want to go over some DS2 impressions? I've had some time with the game now. I know
I'm about 30 hours in right now.
30. Okay, so you're about 10 hours ahead. I don't know plot wise how much further you are. I'm about 20 hours.
I think I'm almost at chapter 10 right now.
Okay, yeah, you're pretty far ahead. I wrapped up chapter 5.
Okay.
But I'm also very slow and meticulous with damn near every game that I play. So like I'll pick up a bunch of like the I won't do a ton of standard orders, but I've been doing like the order requests, and now I've got the option to like pick up animals. So if I see like an echidna or something, you better believe I'm chasing that little bastard down. So,
oh right, yeah. If you see him, yeah, that makes sense to go try to pick him up. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm loving the game. I'm right back in, baby. Right back in. It's deliveries all over again.
Yeah, I mean it is. I feel like people knew that going into it this time, so there's not as much backlash or even mixed reception to it. It was like, yeah, this is what I was expecting, and it is Death Stranding 1 just better all the way around. I can't think of anything that's worse than Death Stranding 1 from what I've seen so far in the 30 hours I played. Visually speaking, this is just actually shows what the PS5 Pro can really do, because it's quality mode on the base PS5, but at 60 FPS, which is great. That's what I wanted out of the Pro.
Well, so when I loaded this thing up and you just have that initial sequence of Sam getting up off that like cliff face to go back to his base, I'm like, holy shit! When it's right in front of you, because we saw that clip in the it was like the release date trailer, but it's like when it's right there in front of you, native, and the game defaults on quality mode, so I wasn't moving yet. I obviously switched that off pretty quick, but right off rip, I'm like, oh my, look at this fucking game! It's crazy. And then
it's visually impressive. Yes.
I got to the sequence where you first meet Rainey, and she's got like this whole crazy like dance thing. And it just, there's always these larger in life sequences that Kojima does with these cutscenes. So between that and then the following chapter with that guy, that's kind of like the similar character to Mad Mikkelsen and DS1, just, it's nutty how it looks. The facial expressions, and it just, John, I'm sitting there with like a smile on my face, ear to ear. It's so visually impressive. I can't believe how it looks.
Every character, all the allies you run into so far are just very different. Each one, they have like some little, it's like that little Kojima quirk that he puts there just so they're different. And you'll see, like, remember we saw because they did a roundup of the different characters very quickly. So you had the woman who had the 2 right or 2 left hands, like little things like that, right? That you have in front of you there. But you mentioned the character that you had to do some combat with there.
Well, go on.
the person that people were like, oh, that's Solid Snake. He's just making Snake.
Well, basically. Yeah, the guy that looks like a legally compliant Solid Snake. Yeah.
The scene for that was crazy though. Like the environments and stuff. It was such an awesome looking part of the game, I'll say.
Yeah, it's like heavy on. It's not much of a spoiler, I'd say, but it was like heavy on fireworks.
Yeah,
and it just like the particle effects were. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. It looked so good. I'll tell you this though, John. The game is undeniably more combat focused.
No, it definitely is.
Way more than I thought. Which at first I didn't like. At first
really?
I'm like, well, I don't know. I think the whole thing about Death Stranding 1 was like, oh man, there's actually not that much combat in this game, which for some people is an issue. But then you get sort of into the standard gameplay loop of just back and forth deliveries and plotting your course and things like that. And you sort of get into a groove, and at least in my experience, I remember like when I was like, I don't know, 60, 70 hours into DS1, you kind of get into autopilot. And it's like the autopilot for me was not fucking with BTs. I walk around all these encampments. I don't want to do the combat. It gets kind of formulaic. So at first I was like, man, they're throwing a lot of combat at you. But then I don't know, maybe it's just like the new weapons and the new choices and the way to go about it. I was like, okay, I'm fine with this. I kind of like
a lot.
I kind of like how you can hit an encampment and the game will tell you right away, like if you keep hitting them, they'll be easier to just walk by later. And if you keep avoiding them, they're going to be more and more dangerous and they'll be staffed up further and further,
Right. They do give you a lot more to go on, like to work with. So you have just a bunch of weapons. You have the little, you'll get things that allow you to, I'm trying to think of when I got some of this stuff. Cause I think some of this I got by doing extra orders for different places, like decoy grenades almost. And they have projections and smoke grenades, and they have so much stuff you can use to try to overcome these bases. My only thing is there were a few times where they really wanted me to do stealth, and it would never work. Like ever. It just ended up turning into a firefight, which was fine because I generally win them with, the shotgun is very powerful in the game from what I was experiencing.
Yeah.
So I was just, okay, he saw me. The only thing that got kind of annoying is if one person just sees you, the entire base goes on alert and they all just come after you.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that sense of if one of them sees me, I feel like I should be able to take them out before they alert the other guards or the people there. But when I would get seen, it would just immediately go into alert. Everyone would start sprinting towards my location.
Well, it seems like when you get seen, there's a very brief moment of like, because it slows down, it goes in like bullet time. And you have that like small moment to try and apprehend them right then and there. I think the issue becomes if you use a weapon that is going to take them out immediately. If it's a loud weapon, then in context, your cover's blown. But I would agree. I think the first encampment I ran into, like the one that's just like sort of scripted for you to get into, I did that all stealth. I've not been able to successfully do another stealth one. And I think it's like because it's, you know, the world is so open. So there's like there's certain, like, environmentally you can see like where they've plotted certain tall bushes or something. But so far it's not worked for me. I just go in guns blazing, it seems. The bola gun helps, but I don't know, like to get at the strand and then walk so far into the encampment without being caught is, like, I think, really hard to do.
Their line of sight is very good. Like, they can spot you from pretty far away.
Yeah.
So at that part, yeah. But the story so far has been kind of, it is still that sense of I'm not really sure what's going on still into like chapter. Like I said, worked through chapter 9, almost chapter 10. But there are some side stuff with like Doll Man, for example, that have been kind of interesting. And they're trying to explain how each side character so far has kind of met up and what their place is in the game. But that's kind of where I am still. I'm not really sure what's going on because you have like these weird out of context things that happen between characters, which is where I'll leave it at. And it's still kind of in the dark a bit, like I was with Death Stranding 1. I feel like towards the end of the game, of course, it's all going to come together. People already said, who have played through the game, said that the last bit of it was very good. They really liked it. So I will admit right now, after hearing that, I don't want to say I'm beelining the game. I have more of an emphasis of trying to push forward now, trying to see what that ending's like.
See, here's the thing, John. Now it's got I can't remember if like there was something quite like this in DS1, but I would imagine there wasn't. But I'm like making a lot of use of the corpus. So anytime a new entry shows up, like I'm reading it, and I have so far, because I'm trying my damnness over here to like make sure I don't lose what in God's name's happening in the story.
He's like, Kojima does his best to try to throw you off.
So yeah, well, so for now, like I'm like, yep, this makes sense. Okay, got it. Okay, that's who this person. This is why they can do this. Oh, they have dooms. I'm so far like if an entry goes in the corpus and I don't know what the hell it is, I read it. So I like that. Like it's I'm sure other games have had like similar dossier type systems or whatever the case is, but like ever since Final Fantasy 16's active time lore, I'm like, God, I every like story heavy game should have this shit. Just have this big encyclopedia and just explain it to me if I need to look it up.
Right. Especially if let's say you walk away from this game for a week.
Oh, yeah.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble. Yeah. How do you feel about that? Have you seen a lot of stuff being built in your world by other players?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, so here's the noteworthy thing that struck me as not odd, but I think it makes sense for what is a sequel. This game kind of like gets you back into the swing of things really quick. You know what I mean? Like it did not take long for you to get the tri-bike, to get the bigger vehicle, to get your weapons. I mean, it's like you only really do on-foot deliveries in Mexico, and then that's it. You're like I saw roads pretty quickly. I saw, the monorail system, I think, comes in pretty damn soon. So it's in a way good if you've like played the first game, but in a way, this was the slight disappointment to me is like those moments I was looking forward to where like you're on foot on a long delivery and then like a track kicks in, like a song, like a, what I'm saying?
That's still coming. I'm not gonna spoil it. There is one where I couldn't really use a vehicle effectively, and I had to trudge my way there, and I was cutting it close with the shoes durability, and I was trying to get out of the canteen at the little last drop. It was so close, but they did that thing again. They kicked the music in when you're about to get there.
Well, but so they've done it already a few times in 20 hours, and it just wasn't hitting the same. Because like every time like when it happened, I'm like, I'm in the bike, or I'm like in the big
AC's blasting in the bike.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know. This moment isn't quite hitting like it did in the first game. I don't know if it's because the novelty's worn off or if it's because I know what I'm doing and I'm in a bike and I get there so fast. Like the chorus didn't even kick off for the track. I'm like, that's kind of, I don't know, a little disappointing, I think, but
there's a few where the vehicles didn't work well for me, and they did that again. So
yeah,
I didn't get a couple chapters. You'll kind of see what I mean. But it's I get what you're saying, because they definitely get you started with a lot of stuff that just makes deliveries easier, like immediately almost when you get to Australia. So
well, that's the thing. He's in context of the story, he's a veteran porter, the man who delivers. He should be getting this shit again pretty quick, but I don't know. The only other thing that I thought was noteworthy to me, or that stuck out to me, I love how there's this weird dichotomy of the game looking just gorgeous. It's this big AAA bizarre delivery game, and it by all like every metric is a sort of PS5 experience. But on the other end, it's a story that is just so, the way I keep phrasing it, John, it feels like a PS1 or PS2 sequel, where like the writing is just so, in a way, forced in a very playful video gamey way. And what I mean is like, it just felt like when this game kicked off, granted, the opening is kind of tragic, no spoilers, but it's, it felt very just video gamey of like, Sam, you got to do it again. It's just like it's a weird way they sort of pieced it together. It felt very video gamey of like, yeah, all that stuff you did, we just want you to do it again. There's no sort of like, I think, through line that really sort of demands it in a very narratively compelling way. And it's not a bad thing. I just think it's sort of, I like how whimsical it is of like, yeah, just do more of it.
Yep. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah, just do more. I did build a few roads, did all that. So I'm contributing somewhat. I'm putting ladders up and the ropes to go down.
You sure you're not just a freeloader, John? You're not just using everybody else's stuff?
I like getting the roads built pretty quick if I can help it. I like trying to get that done. So I've done a few. I've been throwing the kyber crystals everywhere, throwing them all over the place. I have like 4,000 of them. So
yeah, you should claim them at every facility so you can like lessen the load on your backpack or whatever, because that's like a thing every 1,000.
Yeah. Let me pause real quick, Ryan. I forgot to upload the audio. Hold on one second. Hold on. not for us, for Evan.
Sure.
Hold on one second.
Yeah, you go ahead and do that. All right, now it's just me. John's probably going to cut this, but I'll keep talking because why not? Game's fun. Game's very fun. I have my window open, cracked up just a little bit. It's summer. It's hot. You know what I'm saying? Got to have a little bit of fresh air coming in. Though I did just change the AC, so should have some nice air coming down. The vent's right there. Vent's right above my head. So I can't feel it. It's at an angle. It comes in, I think, yeah, that way. It bounces against that wall. So I don't feel any AC directly, but it feels pretty good for the most part. How's everybody enjoying their summer? I'll tell you, I'll show you this. Again, John's probably cutting this, but if he leaves it in, picked up these bad boys right here. Blueberry Oreos. I saw this shit in Wegmans. Wegmans is a staple here in Western New York. And goddamn, did I fall in love at first sight, because I am a whore for blueberries. Love them dearly. And so I don't know. It's like any sort of blueberry artificially flavored things. Got to get this shit. And the bouquet. Oh, the bouquet. Let me tell you about the bouquet, folks. You got to sniff these things. God damn, they're so good. The thing is, it says on the package, backed by popular demand. And I'm trying to remember if I had these before. I feel like I have had them before, but at the same time, when I saw them, when I locked eyes in the aisle with these cookies, I just thought, oh my God, I don't recall ever trying these before. Used to be a bit of an Oreo nut. Would go for like all the different flavors, and Oreo's kind of fucking insane. Nabisco's always trying all sorts of different flavors out here. Some of the insane ones. Also had, oh, hey, John, he's back.
What were you talking about?
I was vamping. I kept it going. So you can either leave that in or cut it out. But I might have spent a lot of time talking about these blueberry Oreos, these blueberry pie Oreos. So I was just talking to the audience.
I'm gonna leave that in and timestamp it for all the good people out there.
Oh, that's great. I also got to fix this autofocus. This camera is very weird. All right. Well, with that out of the way, you want to move into some news stories?
Yes, we can do that.
All right. While you're doing whatever you're doing, I'm going to list off some PS Plus Extra July games. We have the lineup confirmed. It's going to go live July 15th, but not for this one game, Cyberpunk 2077. It's in the lineup. It's available right now. And also, if you're a Plus member, which would make sense for this lineup, Phantom Liberty is on sale as well. So you can get the base game and then buy your Phantom Liberty. The rest of the games, though, is Abiotic Factor. That's a day one launch on July 22nd. So that's happening a little bit later. But otherwise, everything else will go live on the 15th. And that is Banishers Ghost of New Eden, Bluey the video game, Planet Zoo, Risk of Rain 2, Tropico 6, New World Eternum, and then PS Plus Premium, just the 2 Twisted Metal games that we already knew about. That would be Twisted Metal 3 and 4 for PS1. Not a bad lineup. And I think Cyberpunk is doing some heavy lifting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good lineup overall. Even having because now we've rounded out the PS1 Twisted Metal games, then so they're all there basically, like 1 through 4.
I was about to say, there's not the micro machines one or like the small, whatever that one was called. There's not that one.
Is that
don't count that one?
I think most people just know the number ones mode. Like they think back and they're like, oh, Twisted Metal 2. Or I guess, I don't know. Some people are like really excited for 4. I remember 4 as being like the one.
Yeah, well, I'm not a huge Twisted Metal fan, so I don't know. But I would just always make the argument of give me everything on premium. Give me all the classics. Give me all the weird ones, the obscure ones. The very game we're talking about, I'm sure a lot of people probably have not played it. So I would like the micro machines one eventually to pop up.
There you go. Cyberpunk is a good get for that service, though. It's especially now. I mean, if people haven't played it, it got its update 2.0. It was just a free update they did to basically fix the game, and it's much better now, like significantly better. So even without because that doesn't have the Phantom Liberty DLC, but the base game with all the updates they've done is massive still.
Yeah, well, if you're on PS5, at least you're going to get a pretty nice spruced up version of the game too, and it will run reasonably well. Yeah. Next up, Astro Bot's new levels are live. We can't really say much here because it is like kind of a big spoiler, but I want to at least make it a point to say that, we have Astro's 5 new levels. They're not doing that thing where they like piece it out week by week. So you can just load up the game now, all 5 new levels are on there. And there are VIP bots on there that I'll just say arguably it's surprising.
It spoiled it for me on X. And I was a little sad.
I know. Well, that's the thing too. I was spoiled too. I fucking hate society nowadays. Why do we do that? The second something goes live on the internet, we have to. God damn it. Anyway, point is, there's some cool VIP bots that should have probably been in there like from day one.
Yes,
and it sounds like they are in there now, so you can go check those out.
I mean, the one we knew about was gonna be Atsu. They already told us that.
Yes.
But there are other ones, third-party ones even, that were like, oh, okay, well, that'd been fun to unlock for myself, but okay. Great.
There's nothing sacred. And
Astro Bot's become a pretty large game now.
Well, it's cool when because if there's one positive spin to it, it's like Astro's that prolific enough to where like people have got to talk about the new bots. So there's that. There's something to it.
I mean, just the game itself though, 300 and like almost 330 bots. 300. I mean, there are 330 something bots now, I think.
Yeah, 330, probably somewhere around there. Yeah,
that's pretty sizable game though.
Yeah, it's a pretty big game. It's a fun game too, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. I like that you can get it done in a weekend, basically.
Yeah.
Next up, The Last of Us Part 2 got a very surprising new update. It's live right now on PS5 and PC, and it's the Chronological experience. Out now, developed in collaboration with Naughty Dog, but primarily done by Nixxes Software, which, little tangent, Nixxes seems to be doing a lot of this new stuff lately, or at least new experiences, or like they did the Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered game. They're handling the Helldivers 2 port, and now they were also doing this as well. So it's pretty much as you would think. You can now experience The Last of Us Part 2 and its non-linear plotline in a linear fashion. There's new trophies, and you can also unlock a Nathan Drake and Sam Drake outfit for Joel and Tommy in the no return mode, but it is out now on PS5 and PC. I didn't think they would do this.
I guess it's cool. It didn't really seem necessary, I guess, but
wow. John's very like whatever about this.
Yeah, I feel like that's all. This is what I've seen from Naughty Dog mostly. It's just more Last of Us constantly.
Oh god, that's the take you're going with, John.
I've just seen it. I've seen it so much. I'm like, yeah, I guess it's cool.
Well, what's crazy is that like that was like a big complaint for a lot of people is the non-linear story. It's like, well, here's an option, which I would think like I saw this and I thought, oh, that's cool. I don't think I want to play the game like that.
I've already played. I mean, I got to the point where the HBO series season 2 ended, and I stopped. I was like, okay, cool. Now when it comes back, I'll pick it right back up here, and I'll try to play it kind of alone. Now I'm like, great. Should I just start over and do the chronological one now?
No, well, you're not gonna do that. I just thought like what's funny is that like there were definitely a lot of like discussions around like the pacing and where certain motives are placed and those big pivotal flashbacks and things like that. And I was never of the mind where like, oh, I think it's perfect how they did it. But, it's like we weren't really challenged on what it could have been. I think season 2 of the show is maybe a pretty interesting litmus test there of like it's structurally the same and that it's a lot of Ellie, then it's going to go to Abby. But they did move up motives way ahead of time. which that is kind of like the crux of the issue. So you do get that in this new chronological experience.
Right.
I don't know, John. Like after like watching the show, I'm like, I kind of prefer how the games did it. So it's a neat way to like experience the game, but to be front loaded with all those scenes and like slower pace sections, I don't know. I'm not rushing to go play that. I'll say.
Yeah. Nah. I mean, it was an interesting idea, I guess, and it's I don't know. I feel like Naughty Dog has just been like, hey, you remember Last of Us Part 2? Remember it again? It's like, yeah, okay.
Well, Nixus did this.
I know. It's what we've seen from Naughty Dog for a long time.
Yeah, well, Intergalactic's coming.
I know.
Arguably, that goes into our next story. Neil Druckmann and Hallie Gross have walked away from The Last of Us HBO. So both Neil and Hallie put out some statements saying that before any meaningful work begins on season 3, they'll be stepping away to work on future projects. Which for Neil, that's going to be writing and directing Intergalactic, and for Hallie, they say, and I quote here, they've got some truly rad projects ahead. Because Hallie's not writing on Intergalactic, but she does play a character in there. But people are just looking at this going, oh, okay, well, at least they're probably in full production for Intergalactic now. Production's typically like 2 years. So if we think the game's like 2027, then maybe they're just looking to spend more time on that. But it's also slightly indicative of maybe, and this is all speculation, but people are thinking like, oh, they're walking away from the HBO show because of maybe creative differences, or maybe season 2 didn't do as well as they thought, but that's all speculation, obviously.
I feel like he directed like the best episode of the season.
Well, that's where the concern comes in, though, is that people think, oh, well, now that he's leaving. And so you've just got basically Craig. And then I believe one other Naughty Dog person is going to work on season 3. But otherwise, like people are thinking that, that's bad for the HBO series or something.
I mean, maybe, but we don't really know we don't know what season 3 is yet. I mean, we know who it's going to focus on. We don't know what it looks like. I mean, we might go through season 3 and be like, wow, they probably should have kept Neil around, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, that's true. Well, at least they'll be on Intergalactic for the time being. So
I'm more concerned with that anyway. It's like cool, the HBO series, great. I would like Intergalactic to be very good though, as someone who wants to play the game.
For sure. And hopefully they do get it out by at least 27. At least 27.
I mean, yeah. Otherwise, they might as well start. I mean, yeah, they'll probably never mind. They'll probably release it for the PS6. We already know that. So,
well, PS6 versions,
or it'll get a PS6 version either way.
Free upgrades, however they plan on doing it. I'd imagine it'd be very similar to what we've already seen from 4 to 5, which will be a lot of hopefully free updates. But maybe 2 years in, they'll be like, nope, $10.
Yeah, I can see a $10 upgrade. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about that State of Play, huh? It actually just aired for us, like 5 hours ago. Ghost of Yotei State of Play, about 20 minutes long. 20 minutes. It's not a lot. A lot of stuff. Anything stick out to you in particular?
So for me, when I saw the State of Play overall, I looked at it and I said, it wasn't something that like overwhelmed me. It was very much what I expected out of it, but I did notice that we're not going to have the moral dilemma that Jin faced in his story.
Yes.
This is very much like full speed ahead, whatever I got to do revenge story. Just straight up. That's what they were basically getting at here. And I in one sense, the focus of that is good, but the other, I did like the moral part of like Jin trying to go back and forth on his honor and his code as a samurai versus all these guys are fighting dirty. I can't, just go up there as a samurai. I have to think outside the box. However, that could also mean like Atsu might just be presented differently. Maybe she will legitimately feel a lot different compared to Jin. But you know what I did take away from this is they seem to notice that people do talk about open world burnout, because they mentioned the camp thing and that they said, oh, if you want, you can do that. And stuff will sort of come to you rather than you having to just explore corner to corner and go all over the place. It seemed like something that would more streamline the open world. So I'm kind of hoping that this is a game that, while it's going to be a large open world game, it's very much shown that it feels a bit more focused and streamlined compared to what we've had in the past. Because it sounds very Ghost of Tsushima came out like 5 years ago now. It's crazy. I think it's been that long.
Yeah. That's interesting that you have that interpretation from the campfire thing. So I was gonna say, like, I 100% agree. They made that like a point of like that's the only thing Atsu is really doing. She'll be using dirty tricks to win all these fights, and you're sort of encouraged to do that, which is like in stark contrast to what was primarily a plot telling device in Tsushima of like, well, you can either be the ghost or you can fight honorably. But it's like by the end of the game, it doesn't matter what you did, it leans in one direction anyway. So I
Yeah.
almost feel like it was maybe, just full steam ahead here. Like, just that's the whole point of Atsu's story, is that you will be doing whatever it takes to get the job done. But the campfire thing I thought was pretty interesting. So yeah, people can approach you during campfires. I think they said with just upgrades. I don't know if that would be something where they can approach with leads to the other Yotei 6 members that you're trying to chase down. Because my read on the initial part of the state of play where they were focusing on interrogations and picking up leads made it seem like, well, similar to what Tsushima did, and that, like, how it had that shtick of like no map markers exactly. Like, if you want to follow something, you could just like follow wind. You know what I mean? It almost feels like they're maybe leaning further into that of like, we're not really going to hold your hand on this in the same way that we might have done with Tsushima. So when you want to follow a lead, like, you really do have to piece it together almost in a way, or at least I hope that's how they're approaching it, which would mean it's leaning more into the open world aspect.
They had those cards like that you would get, and I guess that's going to eventually piece together the story or a tale of what you're pursuing. But they kind of mentioned that with the streamlining open world stuff. So I don't know. I have to see when it comes out if that is something they thought of, because the open world burnout, that is a thing that does happen a lot to people, especially with like your Ubisoft game or something. So it does look like they're still doing the thing as you mentioned with the removing the map markers and trying to make it so there's no HUD, so you get the full effect of what they're putting in front of you with the visuals and the art style, which looks great. And they're leaning into that a ton. They have like the black and white filter, they have film grain, they have like the music in the background, they got it all going on. Like, this looks very, very, you can make it look like a piece of cinema basically when you're playing the game. So that, to me, that is really, really cool. But to me, I guess the biggest part is that the combat does look better than Ghost Tsushima, mixed in with the different weapons and the combos and everything that was happening. So that's the thing I'm really excited to see, is how just the overall combat feels compared to Tsushima.
Yeah, notably, Atsu can disarm enemies, or she can get disarmed. And we did see a little bit of the wolf and firearms, but not a lot. They actually kind of went past that pretty quick. And you would think that at least the wolf is going to play a much bigger role. So that might be the one thing they're kind of keeping close to them right now, as far as gameplay is concerned, and probably some story implications as well. I also want to call out the additional modes we're getting for this game. Miike mode, which is inspired by the director of 13 Assassins. The camera is going to zoom in. There's going to be more blood splatter and mud, which looks cool. But then I saw this mode, the Watanabe mode, from the director of Samurai Champloo. So lo-fi beats are going to play during exploration and combat. I saw that. I was like, that is so sick. That's cool. I imagine you've not watched Samurai Champloo, but that's a vibe. Now I'll tell you, I won't play the campaign like that, but trophy cleanup after, I'm turning that shit on all day, every day.
Okay.
That's so cool.
I mean, the game. So the thing is, it's what I expect a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima basically look like. It's not surprising me much with anything, but it's basically what I was hoping to see. So it's so hard to get that same surprise kind of value or factor like we got from, remember when they first showed us Ghost of Tsushima, hey, Sucker Punch, they're making an older samurai game. It was like, what, really?
Yeah.
Oh, weird. But it was cool. It was interesting. Now it's like we've done that. Now we're seeing them build on top of that for this. So I think I wasn't shocked or surprised or like overwhelmed by anything I saw, but I'm content, and it's coming out October 2nd. That's new hardware for it too.
This is true. We have some limited edition PS5 console bundles, controllers, and console covers that are going to be on PS Direct and also different retailers. They look really, really nice, really flashy. Pre-orders, I think, are live for the game, but not all the accessories. That's going to be like closer to launch. So you could get those. But you do make a point here, John, and I've seen it a lot with a lot of these big sequels for PS Studio games, is that these sequels, there's a sort of novelty that's just gone. So it's like by the time Yotei came around, it feels like more Tsushima. By the time Forbidden West showed up, it feels like more Zero Dawn. By the time Ragnarok showed up, it feels like 2018 God of War. By the time Spider-Man 2 showed up, it just feels like more Miles Morales and 2018 Spider-Man. Yeah. We're like in this era of like, it's cool to get all these major sequels, but at the same time, you waited like 6-7 years for them, and they don't have that generational like leap that the first games were afforded on PS4. And so it's like, I'm definitely excited for Yotei, but that's not the first time I've seen this or heard about it from other people. Of like, yeah, it looks like more, but people aren't wowed by it.
I will say I might have a similar effect like you have with Death Stranding 2, where you saw it on stream or even in a 4K upload on YouTube, but then you got it in front of you on the big OLED, and you're like, whoa, okay, this looks pretty good. I assume I'm going to have that same feeling with Yotei, but man, that first Ghost of Tsushima title card experience is craziness. Like when you first get on your horse and you go out and it starts playing the music, and it's like Sucker Punch Presents, and it's like hits you with Ghost of Tsushima while you're riding through the grass, tall grass on your horse, the flowers on the side. That was I'm not expecting to get that with Ghost of Yotei, but I'm expecting to get a good game.
I got you explaining all that, and you're like, yeah, that was amazing. I'm not going to get that here.
But even if they did the same thing, I'd be like, that's cool. But I like, as you're mentioning, the sequels make sense. I'll say made sense back during the PS3 generation when it was like, hey, every 2 or 3 years you're going to get a sequel.
Yeah, you get another one.
And it's like, okay, it was 2 or 3 years. That makes sense. Now it's like, wow, this is a 5 or 6 year dev cycle thing. It's okay. All right. That took a little longer than I thought, but it's cool to see more of it. It doesn't have that impact, like you said.
So. Yeah. It's a shame. Although it's completely valid when people bring up that point. I get it. But these games are also like an evolution from their predecessors. Now we're going to have to arguably wait much longer for those revolutions that people expect.
Exactly. And I assume in their mind, hey, we can reuse assets, animations, whatever because then this game that they make probably more money on or equal amounts of money will then also work to even out any extenuating budget circumstance or anything they run into with the first one. So it's probably the idea of, hey, we're going to do this, then we're also going to do a sequel with it. And it's basically, let's count them both together in terms of how much money we make.
Yeah. Well, at the very least, we did see a lot more of the game. I'm on board. They could never show it again, and I will probably still.
Oh yeah, I'm good. Yeah. I mean, I would have bought it probably without the state of play because it's Sucker Punch Ghosts, a new Ghost game. Here's the thing, though. I'm thinking about if they wanted to really get crazy with this whole thing, as we mentioned, the Ghost moniker would go all the way through history. They should go further away from this time period after this if they're going to do it again, to where it doesn't feel as similar. I mean, they went a couple 100 years from Tsushima. I mean, I don't know if they would consider going way into the future or something. I know they like to do the historical stuff. I get it. And they're trying to be as true to as possible.
Yeah.
But eventually, like if they did this again and they're like, hey, we're going to go 200 years in the future here. It's like, I feel like eventually you start to run out of rope then. And you're like, man, geez, okay, we're doing this. Okay. I mean, I thought like, hey, what if they went far into the future, like a future, Tokyo thing or something?
so make a different game, basically.
Maybe. I mean, they could do a spinoff with that, like how we had the Far Cry Blood Dragon or something.
Sure. I honestly, I'm curious if they'll even like do another similar Ghost of game after this.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably, there's going to be a Legends 2.0. So
yeah,
they could.
I assume they're going to add it to it later, right?
Yeah, they could explore that. But after Yotei, I don't know. I think a lot of these teams, there's maybe a pressure of like kind of putting this stuff behind them, even though it's only 2 games. But like, typically we saw 3 of these in one cycle. Now we're seeing 2 of them over damn near a 15-year period. So
yeah, or there's probably pressure on the I would have to assume, because Sucker Punch is a 1-game studio, that eventually they're like, hey, because we see Naughty Dog doing apparently 3 games. It's like, I almost wonder if there's an internal pressure of even just competition of like, maybe we should be able to work on more than 1 game at once.
I think there's maybe that would be on a studio by studio basis of how they feel, but I think they're still kind of all they have that autonomy of, we don't want to take on another project unless we absolutely have to.
Right.
I would think Sucker Punch is going to stay like that for quite a while.
Yeah, they got Ghost Yotei coming up. I'm picking it up on October 2nd.
I as well. Next up, we have a Firesprite job listing for a cinematic producer. This one was noteworthy because it says, and I quote, "This is an ambitious AAA project with a heavy focus on atmosphere, storytelling, player agency, and immersion into groundbreaking territory on next-generation hardware technologies." This is apparently the rumored Project Heartbreak, which there's been plenty of talk and speculation on this being basically an Until Dawn 2. I guess what sticks out is next-gen hardware technologies. Yep. I will say, I think we've had plenty of Firesprite job listings like from 2-3 years ago, like that still had this language on there. And that would have been like arguably around the time where, like, how when a new console comes out, at least the first year or two, it's always called next-gen. So
I saw people mention PS4 as current gen with NBA 2K. The 2K26. This is like this week. So
it's, hey, any console's current gen if you're playing on it.
Yeah, okay. The PS5 is current gen now, right? We all agreeing on that? Are we good?
It is true. It is current gen.
Okay. People, I still see some people say, like, for example, get an update, next gen update for the PS5 for an older game. So,
well, that's the thing. Like 2-3 years ago, I think that was like right on the cusp of where that language was like ending reasonably. But it's all semantics. Yeah. I'm just saying, in the case of this job listing, like they had them a few years ago, and it's like we weren't expecting PS6 2-3 years ago. You know what I mean? So
sure.
But I either way, like we're like 2-something years away from the damn thing anyway. I don't know how much time left is like, or how far along Project Heartbreak is. Let's just say that. I mean, if it's like a 27
at this point, if it's a 27 PS6 of that thing,
well, that's what I'm saying. If it's a 27 game, or pretty much anything being made right now, it's PlayStation 6 as well. It might be like a slight delay of what we saw with late life cycle PS4 games getting director's cut on PS5. Right. It's not, those weren't day and date, obviously, but it's close enough. So, and first party teams get dev kits before anybody else. I think first party's going to get PS6 kits either very soon or like in the next quarter or something like that. I mean, it's not far away.
Yeah.
Or they might already have them. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I feel like eventually you start hearing about it then.
Yeah. Well,
that's leak out.
That's the thing. Yeah. Well, by the time certain studios start getting it, we'll hear about it, obviously.
It is crazy that we're like 5 months away from 2026, which is around, I figured 2026 is the year we'd start hearing dev kit leaks and stuff for the PS6.
I would imagine so, yeah. What do you think it's going to look like, John?
The dev kit? I mean, okay, so the PS5 one looked like the space hanger.
A pizza heater. A pizza slice heater.
That was a good eBay list. I don't know, man. I still try to figure out where they even go from the PS5 to the PS. Like, how weird is the PS6 gonna look?
Oh, you mean like the actual retail design?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I have no idea where. Like, even like the PS4, I think the PS4 is a good looking system, but then the PS5, way different, like way off of left field when they showed that thing compared to the PS4. So now I have to assume that the PS6 is way off into right field.
Yeah, they might get more conservative with the design language. You never know. Could be very contemporary looking, maybe like a mid-century modern looking couch or something. I don't know. You never know. You never know.
I mean, who knows where we'll be in a couple of years anyway. It was really popular then.
Yeah. Let's move on, John. Let's move on to our Pigs Fly news story. Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox Series S and X on August 26th. The same day as Gears of War Remastered. I've seen people jokingly refer to this as a prison exchange, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, if you recall, we had that thing pop up on Click R3 episode 10, which I had to check because I wanted to see what our takes were on this originally. But we had that news story where back in October 2024 in the community Discord, there was that fan talking about wanting an Xbox port. And if you remember, the community manager made a comment on it where they said, and I quote here, "Who says Helldivers 2 couldn't be ported to Xbox? It's not up to us, but to Sony and Phil to duke it out. But hypothetically speaking, if both partners think it would benefit them from a financial and brand standpoint, it could." John, I'll just pass it over to you. What do you think?
I'll admit I was a little surprised when this got announced, as was
the
internet.
A little.
But if you recall,
no, hold on. You better be talking about my opinion on this.
Our predictions episode earlier this year.
Whoa. What'd you predict? I don't remember. What'd you predict?
I predicted that Sony would move a first-party game to another platform this year. Unfortunately, I said my pick was Horizon on the Switch too. But
that's right.
You know what you said, which was interesting, as we were discussing that, because you were like, "Oh, I like this. This is a spicy take. I like this." But maybe Helldivers 2 would go to the Switch too. You were so close. You were off by like 1 on the platform. You were right there.
Oh, I don't remember saying that at all. I was going to say,
so close.
So when I went back to our episode 10 of Click R3, I played the devil's advocate. I said, like, you know what? I could see it happening. I didn't say it was likely. I did not. I very much said I don't think it would happen. But I did play the advocate. I'm like, you know what? I think there's a world where it happens.
So this is an interesting predicament because
a predicament.
Okay, well, because the commentary obviously around Microsoft's platform has been that the audience has been conditioned not really to be buying games because Game Pass has sort of taught them to go that route. Hey, subscribe to Game Pass, and that's like your library of games going forward, $20 a month. You'll get all of our first-party stuff and sometimes third-party stuff like Expedition 33 that goes in day one. So the only thing I think of here is Sony, because this would have been Sony's call. People are like, "Oh, Arrowhead forced it." It's like, no, they didn't. They would have had a conversation about it, but it's like Sony is publishing this and Nix's is doing the port. So it's like Arrowhead didn't walk into the top executive boardroom and go, "Okay, guys, this is what we're doing." It's like none of that happened. So in this case, Sony must have some kind of data that suggests that this would be a worthwhile endeavor for them. And I can think of Destiny 2. Maybe that being something where they have data that shows that, because that's usually, if you look on Xbox's charts, that's usually one of the top spots is Destiny 2. Or they have MLB The Show data because it wasn't in Game Pass this past year. And maybe they're like, "Oh, wow, people actually do buy games if it's the right game, if it matches up to the demographic." Now, I'll say if Sony had a turn-based RPG or something and they're like, "Oh, I don't know if that's the move, but a shooter, maybe that's probably right up." I mean, that's like the Xbox kind of genre is a shooter, an online shooter, especially. So I think out of most of their library, Helldivers 2 makes a lot of sense for the Xbox. It was just almost, you could say, stunning to see Sony show up on Xbox storefront as a publisher for the Xbox Series X and S and have Nix's do the port.
Mm-hmm. And that's the other particular here. They're publishing it. They didn't get like anybody else to do this. They didn't, offload it to somebody else. They want to publish it. And the only like caveat I would add is like, maybe, I don't think this is likely, but maybe, Arrowhead during whatever sort of conversations were had between them and SIE. I mean, there is a sort of relationship there that says, well, we maintain and operate this game. It's successful and it means a lot to us. Like they want the game on as many platforms as possible. Maybe there was actually some bargaining chips that Arrowhead had some leverage. I think more to your point, that's sort of what did happen. A very circumstantial, we have some telemetry. We think this game will do reasonably well there. Maybe it's another 10, 15 something %, but it's just an audience that for that particular game, it would sell, it would do well enough. My original point in that episode for Click R3 was like, kind of what this community manager is talking about. Like maybe they could both these companies could actually play ball, which is the other guy is saying like, we give up, here's our games, we're shipping them over there. Maybe it's a much more forthcoming conversation of, it'd be great to, have a game like that brought over and we'll easily facilitate that for you. And I don't know. It seems like all this stuff could have easily fell into place. And just to add a little extra thing to this, I would also presume like Sony's not worried about how this looks. Like these games, generally speaking, they're still how Sony does exclusivity. I've always said not Xbox. I think this is one of the few cases where they can do it. And it's like, it doesn't really impede on PlayStation.
It's also live service. You could say that. You're like, okay, it's live service, but it's just weird because they decided to take the extra step to go, okay, now we're going to put this on Xbox. It's done really well for PlayStation. And in fact, they've now started putting it next to their, before I swear that in the state of plays or something, they would just have Helldivers 2 is out next week or something. This is pretty quick. They didn't have a lot of confidence. I don't say confidence, but they weren't like, this is the 15 million unit seller right here. This is going to be crazy numbers.
No, they definitely didn't expect this game to be as big as it was going to be. And that's why, too, I think this Xbox port would not have happened without the game being as successful as it was. This is definitely we have something here. Let's put it on another platform.
Here's the other aspect to this, Ryan. Okay. I think it's possible, and I'm sure Sony probably has some in on this too, just like, some leads or information. I do think it's possible that at the end of 2026, Microsoft launches whatever their next gen strategy is, maybe new Xbox system, whatever, but clearly it's tied to this OS, and Helldivers 2 would go to the system anyway next year because it would be part of their Steam. You can load it on the Xbox. It's Windows. So if you're Sony and you understand it's happening, maybe you're not going to do this with God of War because of the brand recognition stuff, and we're trying to keep it. But like Helldivers 2, it's a live service game. Maybe we can sell 1 million copies on Xbox if we get it there now throughout the next year before it goes there by default on Steam anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing too, is I think as far as like, if fans are freaking out, like this is going to be some kind of big change, whatever the case is, but it's like, if anything, by the time this next Xbox ships, they won't even have to port another game over there. They won't have to.
Yeah, exactly. It'll just, hey, we're going to launch it on Windows OS, or if they do, they have a new branding for it. It's like Xbox PC, Xbox for PC or something like that. That's going to be their branding. So anything you put on Windows is just going to be on Xbox, essentially. Yeah. The thing that will be a bigger tell, I believe, is if they make the push for the Switch 2. You can say with Helldivers 2, I guess, but with something that's more single player oriented. Because I still think that's a big play for them if they want it, since Nintendo is super dominant in Japan. They could expand their reach there, which sounds weird because Sony's a Japanese company, but what are you going to do? The Switch 2's already sold 1.5 million systems in Japan. Just Japan. The thing just came out. And it's like, okay. So it's one of those things of Sony may look at Nintendo in a different light, but still do something similar. So I do kind of think Sony is going to explore this more and more as we go, mostly because, yeah, they're the default system. I think that's just kind of it. It's like, if they put Helldivers 2 on the Xbox in August, will they all of a sudden see a drop in PS5 sales? It's like, no different than just the system getting older and selling to a bunch of people, and there's less people to sell to. Not really.
We'll see. So much to your point about Horizon Zero Dawn going to, let's say, Switch 2, because that would be kind of a semi no compromise port if they get Zero Dawn on Switch 2. I think the game will look actually pretty damn good on Switch 2. Mm-hmm. But considering that we think this company has 2 SoCs being built right now, one of them being a portable PlayStation, which would kind of get them back into the ball game in Japan for a local play handheld. Mm-hmm. That is kind of, I think, very analogous to what they're doing with like the PC thing, which is you get this Spider-Man remastered and Miles Morales, and then you have to wait quite a bit for Spider-Man 2 or God of War, Days Gone, Uncharted, Last of Us. They'll release the initial games on there. And that encourages a Switch 2 owner to go get that new portable that already has Forbidden West on there. That's going to have, the third entry of Horizon. So there's some parallels to be drawn there too.
Yeah, I think you're right, because their development for their new handheld, as much as people I'm sure want to believe that Sony's going to produce some 4K portable monster, it's going to have limitations, and I do think it will line up more so to that Series S that they're would be developing Helldivers 2 for now, right? So if Helldivers 2 goes to the Series S, 60 frames and stuff, you could probably look to their handheld in a couple of years to kind of get that similar effect. So if you could port down to the Xbox Series S, that alone makes sense to do work on now if you're already developing your handheld.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Switch 2, as you mentioned.
In full agreement. I think we're walking into a very different time.
Yeah, and if you consider this, we heard that Sony mentioned that they were, or was it Shuhei? I mean, they were asked about, they've all been asked about the Switch 2 and Nintendo, and it was kind of like, yeah, we view them as like a younger audience still, who eventually may want to upgrade to a PS5.
Right.
And again, what better way to do that than introduce them with your franchise like a Horizon, but do it with the first one so that they can kind of figure out for themselves where the next one is, and then the big new third one that we assume is going to come out before the PS5 generation ends.
Right. Arguably Switch 2 will be a much more easier springboard for them if they, let's say, have their own portable on the marketplace as well.
Yep. Absolutely.
We do have, I mean, this kind of be, we'd be remiss to not talk about this, but Microsoft's layoffs, which were devastating. 9,000 workers, 9,100 workers, something like that. King is losing 10% of staff. Call of Duty Studios were hit. Turn 10 is losing like 50% of their staff. And I guess they're shutting down Motorsport, which is...
They're just going to be a Horizon now.
Which is batshit insane, because at least in the sort of traditional console space, it was always Forza or Gran Turismo.
Yep.
Looks like Gran Turismo just got a clear win. Although arguably Gran Turismo, their problem right now is like the PC simulator space, which have way more players if they want to get in on that.
Yeah, they got to figure that one out eventually.
So there's that. Rare was affected. Development of Project Everwild canceled. New MMORPG from ZeniMax canceled. Perfect Dark from the Initiative canceled. Studio shut down. The head of Xbox Game Studios, Matt Booty, confirmed this and other unannounced projects were also winding down, which kind of goes into a big thing with Romero Games. People are thinking maybe Kojima's OD was in trouble, but it sounds like that's still with Xbox for the time being. But, Microsoft's, for all intents and purposes, third party now. So this is a lot of games that are not going to see the light of day anywhere, to be frank.
That's a good point, because I actually kind of thought Forza Motorsport, with the success of Horizon, maybe they just moved Forza Motorsport over to PlayStation as well. Like, here you go, your simulation racing game.
I don't know if that makes the most sense, though, considering it's like that would be directly competing against Gran Turismo. You think it would do well?
I mean, why not? I mean, if you're on PC and it's the PC simulation racing game at this point between them and Gran Turismo, because Gran Turismo doesn't exist on the PC.
Wasn't there like a lot of, I don't know if backlash is the right word here, but a lot of criticism towards that last mainline Motorsport entry?
There was. Yep, yeah. There was. They've been updating it constantly too, trying to, I feel like, just get it up to where it should be, like in terms of its content and its feature set. There's like stuff just missing at launch. It felt like that games as a service title, like you could really feel it. And then you realize they named it Forza Motorsport almost as not only a reboot, but like this is just Forza going forward. It's a platform, really. And I don't think that did well with the fans who have seen it as a numbered entry up until that point. But I mean, Forza Horizon is incredibly popular. So obviously they looked around and said, okay, we just need you guys for the engine, like the Forza tech, which is also with Fable. That's kind of all we need you guys for. And you run support for Horizon. So it is the weird sense of the spinoff overtook the original, but the original is a storied franchise. I mean, it was there since the beginning. Turn 10 was there with the original Xbox when it showed up. So it's a shame. And Perfect Dark. Oh, canceling Perfect Dark. Man.
I would have loved to see that ship on PlayStation.
It would have. I mean, I'm sure it would have. It would have got there.
It is tough building studios. They've been around since 2018,
The Initiative. Yeah.
2017.
7 years.
Yeah.
What a waste. 7 years of that. Some PlayStation people were working at that studio, right? We're like heading up the studio and they left, and then more people came in and they left, and it was just a revolving door at that place. I don't know. It was a small studio too. Like the idea was they call it an agile studio, so they'd be able to quickly move and make creative decisions and stuff, and they would bring in a larger studio like Crystal Dynamics, and they would get a lot of like the main work done. So now Crystal Dynamics is just thrown out there somewhere. Apparently they're working on Tomb Raider, and the word has been that they're having a hard time with that game. So I don't know what happens to Crystal Dynamics either, because Embracer isn't exactly on like the strongest footing right now.
Yeah, I mean they pretty much fell apart ever since that like $2 billion deal fell through.
Yeah, so that Tomb Raider should be, I think it's tied up with like Amazon or something now. So who knows what's going to happen with all that, but yeah. It's a mess.
Romero Games did provide an update though, so they tried to clear the air on the status of the studio. So and mind you, they didn't name their publisher, but you can kind of put 2 and 2 together here.
Yeah.
So they said their game is canceled, but right now they got a bunch of requests from other publishers. So it seems like they're trying to save the studio and figure out how to get that game through.
It's John Romero, and they're working on a first-person shooter. So I'm sure there's a publisher out, as they say, there are several. I think in their update, I'm sure somebody out there would like to fund this game to the finish line, and that, just based on the people at the studio, of course, the names and everything, all the ingredients, the components, that would be a game that could end up coming back to bite Microsoft if it comes out and it's just good.
Well, that's the thing. It's you got to figure, because they said they had met with Microsoft like a day before, which is kind of insane. But those things always work out to where like somebody far above anybody's pay grade in that meeting, they didn't make that call. It's just that whatever the status of that game was, maybe it's actually not. Maybe it doesn't look that hot. So maybe that's why they backed out. You would think. Reasonably speaking, you would think. So
there's a story about Phil not giving up the controller for the ZeniMax MMO, and they canceled it. I don't know.
Good point. Fair point. I also saw a tweet apparently that he closed down the studio, but then he like launched their game or something. He started playing it. Did you see what I'm?
Oh, so here was the thing.
What was it?
While all this is going down, by the way, which we find out usually hours after the fact. It's not, we don't find out in real time, right? So the memo goes out to staff. Things are happening. People, this is again an issue that I have with the Microsoft contingency, the people in charge there. They'll be online and they'll be friends with people, like on their friends list and stuff. Some people see him playing Indiana Jones while running or something. It's like, dude, like Phil, here's some free advice, dude. You go to options, appear offline. Just do that. Like, I don't know why this is very easy.
Appear offline, yeah.
Ryan is speechless, so much so that he's muted.
I'm muted?
He's muted again. Unmuted.
Am I muted?
He's still muted.
Oh, geez.
Phil Spencer has infiltrated. So he was playing Indiana Jones.
Can you hear me now?
Look at this.
How am I muted? I should not be muted.
No, you're good. You're not muted.
Oh, so I wasn't... Nothing went through?
No, you're good.
Oh, you said I was muted.
John, no, I think my AirPods malfunctioned.
You accused me of being muted. Can't believe you.
Oh, you're good.
Son of a bitch. Anyway,
I think. Wait a minute. Are you muted again?
No, I better not be.
I think you're muted.
I'm not muted, John.
No, you're not muted. You're good. I was just messing with
you. You leave that all in too. If you're leaving my blueberry pie Oreo story, you got to leave that in.
That's what those were. I was trying to figure out what those were. They're blueberry pie Oreos.
I showed you, dude. I look at see.
Back. What is this?
I showed you the front, John. I saw it in Wegmans, and oh my, the bouquet. Oh, the bouquet. I'm gonna take a sniff real quick.
Did you just like walk down the aisle and just like just
Woo! Daddy, let me tell you.
You just walk down the aisle, saw it, and you're just like roll the dice on it.
I didn't know. Listen. There's no gambling involved on this. This was a locked in win. Delicious.
Is the icing blue too?
If we're gonna do this, is a show and tell episode of Click R3. Let me tell you. Look at this goddamn Oreo, folks. Look at that fucking.
The audio listeners cannot believe what they're seeing right now.
But it's blue. It's blue. It's so good.
It is blue. It is. They've got some extra food coloring in there.
It's so good. All right. Well, what the fuck was I going to say? Oh, the only point I'm going to add here is that's just not a good look. As far as PR, like I don't think you should be launching games from studios that you had layoffs at. So
I mean, again, you can just always offline yourself and just you'll never have to deal with any of that. For some reason he just wants people to know that he plays Destiny 2 a lot. I don't know. It's like apparently his favorite game.
Yeah, he likes it. Oh, he must have been pissed when Bungie got acquired.
Yeah, that probably wasn't a great day for him. But it's weird with that because you see Sony and Nintendo and they just never interact with people at all. They're like the quietest companies now.
Here's the thing: that during the PS3 days, they were a very charismatic company. PlayStation was always doing a lot of social media stuff. It really is like a lot of Colin and Greg stuff. You know, they do interviews with them during the IGN days, and then a little bit into Kind of Funny. But they were very personable and did a lot of community outreach. They did a lot of that stuff. Maybe not quite to the degree of Xbox, but you know, that's arguably where people like have such a big problem with PlayStation now.
During the PS3 era.
PS3
doing everything they could
while PS3, PSP, Vita, and a little bit into PS4 as well. They were definitely like very big on social media outreach and just having initiatives like that. So arguably that's what people don't like about PlayStation 5 in the cycle nowadays, that they feel very stoic and cold and Apple-esque in a way where they just never say anything. It's only on their terms, and that's a whole other can of worms, obviously.
Yeah.
I
think Microsoft's a little too crazy with it, though. But that's me. I think they've gotten a little too far out there with that, and it doesn't help these situations.
Well, let's move on to a semi-adjacent, similar Microsoft story here. It sounds like we're doing a lot of Xbox talk, but I swear this has a PlayStation tie-in. Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl is finally coming to PS5. This is coming to PS5 late 2025. It has PS5 Pro support and DualSense haptics and triggers, all that good stuff. The thing is, John, if you remember, Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl, this was like basically the last game Microsoft signed for like third-party exclusivity. It's supposed to launch like, I don't know, it was like mid-2022, I want to say. Obviously, the Russian invasion of Ukraine happens. The game got delayed like 2-something years. But there was like a document that leaked back in 2021, I want to say. And like we saw like it was a regular inked exclusivity deal. Like, was it 3 months or 6 months? It was something like that. But you just have to think, like, is this not maybe the last time we're ever seeing a game like this again?
Kind of feels like it. I mean, I figured this game's coming to PS5 in like November or something, like a full year after it launched on Xbox. It sold pretty well when it came out, especially on like Steam specifically. There were good numbers there for it on PC. So this is a game that heavily pushed the Xbox Series X. I feel like this is gonna be a good PS5 Pro title. Hopefully, we'll see. It was also kind of like busted up a bit at launch as well. I know they got a lot of leeway, obviously, with everything that was going on, but they've since gone back to a lot of updates and patches. So technically, the PS5 version at launch should be better. So there you go. You wait a little bit, you get a better version of it, I guess, with that in the PS5 Pro. I tried playing this game for a few hours, and it just didn't click with me, unfortunately.
But the question stands, John, will we ever see another third-party Xbox exclusive?
I feel like they just don't.
It's kind of last one, right?
Yeah, I feel like they don't really care much about it anymore. I mean, now they're bringing their own games to the PS5. It's like, what are we doing here? I feel like as long as they can get it into, I mean, they're publishing Ninja Gaiden 4, and that's just going to be on PS5 day one as well. So, like, I think as long as they have it on their platform, what do they care? Maybe they just got to sign into Game Pass, and that's it.
That's the thing. I think this game is like the last remnants of Xbox leadership, where they used to compete in the console space in the very traditional way. I don't think you're going to see a deal like this. I don't want to say ever again, but like, it's just not what they do anymore. So that was noteworthy. That's kind of, I guess, the last standout third-party game coming over. Next up, we have the Final Fantasy IX 25th anniversary. It has come and gone with no major announcements. It was on July 7th. So Square did reveal some merchandise, some new artwork, a special anniversary video. But over on Reset Era, our good friend Nate Drake, did provide a small update on this game. And they said that as far as they've checked in, based on development and knowledge, that the current status was not good, possibly in trouble or canceled. They only had one source on that cancellation possibility, and they need to verify the info further. So the this ongoing rumor for this FF9 remake thing seems to be not looking too good. Do we have any new updates on that, John? Do you know?
Nate didn't have anything to share about it, so I was just gonna leave it at that. He eventually, I'm sure, will pop up online with something after once he puts the potential for there being trouble behind the scenes for this. I'm sure he's going to want to follow up and provide some kind of update with it.
Yeah.
But the fact that we had the anniversary, which this would have been Final Fantasy 9 launching in Japan, technically the US one is later on still this year, a few months from now. They got another chance. This is a game though that was in that NVIDIA leak list, and man, that list has been accurate every step of the way. So I feel like it's out there. I would hate for this game to be completely canceled though.
That's the rumor. It's not that it doesn't exist, that it's
right.
It's canceled.
How can you have? I don't really understand how you have trouble with Final Fantasy 9 remake, unless you were gonna Final Fantasy 7 remake this thing up, and then it's like, oh, okay, hold on.
Yeah, I thought this thing was going to be similar to a Crisis Core, where it's principally like the same damn game. You know, just it looks very pretty. So, like, is there like a reason to cancel it if it's not? Unless they're doing a lot more to it.
I would prefer, because they already went crazy off the rails with 7. I kind of prefer for 9 they just stick to the source material and just make it look better, more modernized, that kind of thing. Like that's all. I think that's all you really need to do with it, and then announce it with the anniversary. Would be really cool though is if they were ready with it and they shadow dropped it for the anniversary in the US later on this year. That would be kind of cool.
That would be amazing. I would love to see that.
I don't know if they'll do that, because now we're talking about it being canceled, but that's the kind of rumor I'd get out there somehow just to throw off expectations.
So, all right, yeah. So
it's 4D chess.
That is a 4D chess move. You're not wrong about that. But do you think Square is that smart to do that?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. All right. Well, John, I know you're dying to hear or talk about some more PlayStation 6 stuff, so we've got a little bit of that going on here. Mark Cerny has met up with AMD to talk more about their partnership. So Mark Cerny recently met up with AMD's SVP and GM of Computer and Graphics, Jack Hune, and we have this innocuous post on X from Jack about Project Amethyst and the collaboration. They're actually they put up a picture, John. You got Mark and Jack there holding up a split in the middle amethyst, a big stone, to celebrate their partnership. Which some bullet points: they're designing an architecture optimized for ML workloads in gaming. Kind of already said that. Developing high quality neural networks. They've kind of already said that. They also say they've delivered better, more efficient solutions than FSR4, paving the way for ML-based frame gen and ray regen in FSR Redstone. And we did get more on this partnership from Tom's Guide. So Tom's Guide later had a post up, and they were speaking with Mark Cerny and Jack. So Mark talked about their collaboration, and he reiterated the fact that this collaboration is not just for PlayStation, it's for everybody. So they say, and I quote here, "This is not for proprietary technology. This is really trying to move the industry forward. Obviously, we want to use these technologies on our consoles, but these technologies are available to any AMD customers freely." It's part of why we saw the FSR4 release look as good as it did. So that collaboration already had some advancements before Sony even got to really do anything. But that goes into PS5 Pro's big 2026 update. So Mark also talked about that, how the big update coming in 2026 is not going to be a lesser version of FSR4. He says, and I quote, "It's not a cut down version of the algorithm. It's the full fat version of the code developed super resolution that will be releasing on PS5 Pro."
That'd be cool. That'd be cool when we get that. So this is interesting. It said every AMD customer. So clearly you have all kinds of video cards take advantage of it. What about like these handheld PC, these PC gaming handhelds that use AMD, or Valve, who's developed custom chipsets with AMD now with the Steam Deck, or Xbox?
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that this has happened before. Like it happened during the PS3 days, if you remember. There's like kind of a big story about that, because AMD in this case, they have to sort of set up the company in a way where the team collaborating with PlayStation, in theory, is supposed to be a team away from the team working with Xbox, because there's a conflict of interest.
Right.
So there's been circumstances like that when they're going to like the same vendor for certain parts of the platform. But in this case, they're kind of embracing that. It's like, this is for everybody. So.
Well, I mean, if you look at what kind of divides up the two systems now, the big thing people are, SSD speed. was a big one.
Yeah.
The way that the PS5 does power management with their power supply and the chip itself, liquid metal. We're kind of getting down to very fine details compared to how it was back in the day. With like your cell processor, your motion engine chip, or whatever. They're very similar, not the same clearly, but it's close. So you start to think about what they do to kind of differentiate it. And I think, as you mentioned before, it's a lot of interactive elements with the DualSense is clearly different than the Xbox Series controller by quite a bit. It's quite far ahead actually in terms of what it can do. So that maybe those are more of the things they go towards. I'm just trying to think of the sell for the PS6, like selling it to people. I guess just it's a PS6. The visuals look better, the games run better, and we're leaning into this AI revolution more.
ML and ray tracing, possibly path tracing. Path tracing would if we're talking about like pure visuals, path tracing probably has the biggest benefit as far as like dynamically changing the way we look and how we see and view games, having that super accurate lighting. So
I guess also developing games like that. So you could have all games kind of just use that first party wise developed straight up from the ground up.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, and this big 2026 PSSR update has implications for the handheld too, which at least for like next year, Cerny says it's like a drop-in solution. Like it's not hard for studios to just plop this into the game and get results. So, at the very minimum, if you've got a Pro, then next year you should be seeing a pretty significant update for certain games, which it seems like they've been very forthcoming talking about this. They've not like called this update anything. They've not said it's like PSSR 2.0 or something. So I'm curious how they'll telegraph this to people next year. If they'll like let it be known that, hey, this game is shipping on this day. This one's going to be using the new PSSR update.
Oh, good point. Good point.
You'd think they'd want to like make that clear. They've gone out of their way to talk about PSSR and all this stuff already. So at a certain point, you would think they want to make it clear that when this new update hits, here are the games that have it.
I like the idea of these kind of developments working into the handheld as well. Just in general, being able to get more out of these lower powered chips, and AMD really providing the bulk of them right now for these different handhelds. Them getting pushed forward a bit in that department with Sony trying to make a handheld, I think would just be great to see for a lot of these PC handhelds. Did you see the comparison between the Steam Deck and the Switch 2 for Cyberpunk? Digital Foundry did one for it.
No, I didn't see that one.
It's such an interesting thing because the biggest part for me that I saw was the Switch 2 is able at times to get better performance than the Steam Deck at like a third of the power. Like the power draw.
Yeah.
It's like 9 watts versus 24 or something. And it's weird to see that because it's like, how is that even possible? But then you just see what NVIDIA has been able to do while co-developing it with Nintendo and what they want out of it. And it makes you wonder, rather than a one-size-fits-all chip for what the ROG Ally and Lenovo and others, and even kind of Valve with Steam Deck, which that's an old chip now. It's like, yeah, the power draw in general, being on the level of what Nintendo's been able to do, but Sony years from now, I mean, they might be able to get some good battery out of this thing too. And still, the thing for me is getting that slim form factor. Mm-hmm. That was clearly what Nintendo was going for. So just in general, handheld development is like primed for Sony to move in here. And I'll tell you, after going to the beach for a couple days, Ryan, that portal was not going to cut it, because that hotel speed was like 8 down and like 3 up.
Did you try to bring a portal, or you just like, okay?
I took the Switch 2 and I was playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4.
For a second, I thought maybe you brought like a mobile hotspot and try to just get some portal time in on the beach and realize some sand got in it or something.
Yeah, no, it wasn't going to work. I played, when we were in the hotel at night, I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 out on the balcony with the beach in front of me.
Wow, nice. I must be doing something wrong, because I'm not living how John's living out here. I'm getting excited over fucking blueberry Oreos, and John's playing on a balcony beach.
Telling you, if you go up there, like I was in Ocean City, they have a lot of hotels that are right on the beach, and they have balconies that go out, and it's oceanfront. You can see the ocean while you're hanging out on the balcony.
It sounds nice, John.
It is. I was playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. They're like early access got sent out by Activision.
How is it?
It was very nice.
Yeah.
It's a fun game. It's funny. I mean, it's what I figured it would be coming off of 1 and 2, but it's a mixed bag. Some things are missing, more stuff's added. Some songs are missing. New skaters are there. It's fun though. It's Tony Hawk.
In a weird way, I have no interest in jumping into the games, which is odd because I loved them back then. But
really, did you play 1 and 2?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. You already know what to expect then. It's more of that, but 3.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some of the, even if there's small changes, but they're changes that still, I don't know, kind of bother me a little bit.
But I'll tell you, just seeing a lot of this discussion around what they're able to do with the machine learning and the AI upscaling, I'm really hoping they get after with that handheld.
That's the big upside for sure. I mean, I would love to see them return to local play handhelds in a proper handheld form factor. I think full Steam, and this will look just like a similar-ish to a Switch 2 or even to Portal, in that it's meant to look, sleek and semi-compact relative to these bulky portable PCs. But I still think it's gonna be like an 8-inch display, but it'll be thinner, like how the Switch 2 is. Yeah. I got to look at that footage that Digital Foundry captured, because that completely illustrates the point. I think they're very well positioned to ship something that actually has decent battery life, and it's not much of a compromise as far as the kind of games you can get running on that device too. Yeah, exactly. The Tom's Guide feature, though, did end with a very interesting quote from one Mr. Mark Cerny, the PlayStation system architect. He talked about PlayStation's next-gen plans. He just said, very briefly, AMD is moving very quickly, or extremely quickly is how he phrased it. That's, again, based off their collaboration and how they're actually seeing results within 9 months, when Mark thought it would be multiple years. So he says, quote, AMD is moving extremely quickly. What I'm trying to do is prepare for the next generation of consoles. So my time frame is multi-year here. Consoles. Multiple consoles. Multi-year. Well, it's 2025 right now, John. If we think 2 years minimum, puts us in 27. I think 28. I know you think 28. Here's the thing. 28 is, I think 28 would feel right. I think it'll probably be 27. Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if it is 27 as well. 28 to me, I think the PS5 still has some good days ahead of it. I do. Which is funny because we are going into its 5th. People keep forgetting we're almost 5 years into this generation. In November, we'll be there in 4 months. And a month after Ghost of Yotei comes out, actually. And it just, for people right now, it still does not feel like it's been 5 years. So go back to the PS4 when that came out, be like 2018. We were definitely talking about PS5 in 2018. We were absolutely thinking about what's, PS5 this and that, and we were only like 2 years away then. Yeah, from the system coming out. So now I'm thinking 5 years. We're into 2025, and I'm even like, maybe 3 or maybe 2028. I mean, 28. I agree. I think it would feel right. Although, I don't know. I'm thinking we're getting this thing in 27. Yeah, the way that it sounds, the way he was like real excited about how fast they were making development progress and stuff, it's just going to be such an interesting thing to see them, what they presented as. That's what I'm really curious. What do they present it as? Because we have a PS5 Pro on the market right now that's kind of taken I don't say a little bit of the wind out of the sails, but it's going to be harder to show that jump than it would have been with just the PS5. Hey, is that not the argument I made for a long time with PS5 Pro? I as much as I enjoy PS5 Pro, I think we could have absolutely just not had it. And the exact problem is what you're proposing, is that it sort of shortens that gap, and we're already in diminishing returns anyway. So do you really want to eat away the gains of how you could sell a PlayStation 6? If Microsoft goes in 2026, though, next year, maybe Sony feels obligated to be like, oh, we should get out in 27 then. Well, here's the thing, though, too, John. Like, we are, like, the marketplace is just different. Like, it's widely accepted to, buy new GPUs every 2-something years. It's widely accepted to buy a new phone every year. I mean, consoles can pretty much adapt somewhat safely to that model of everything runs on all these consoles, and just buy the one that you want for the performance level that you want. So by the time 6 comes out, you've got a choice of base PS5, Pro, or PS6. And there's no pressure to buy PSX. I'm very curious on like what you're saying. How do they plan on selling it? What's the proposal? Is there going to be a lot of corporate pressure for them to move people off of PS5 and onto PSX, which was very much their language with PS4, is that they want to be swift and move people off PS4 at a very aggressive pace compared to previous generations. There's, I think, a lot of unknowns. I think the marketplace is so different nowadays that you are going to see things look a little bit different.
They just now have gotten to where like there's more people on PS5 than PS4. Like it just recently happened. So It's like, wow, that it's taken some time. But then you go, okay, how long is it going to take to go from the PS5 to the PS6 if the sales pitch is things are going to look better, but it's also
You've completely cut off. I can't hear you now. Can you hear me?
Now can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Well, this has been a cursed episode.
It has, hasn't it?
You just you keep cutting out, and I just keep waiting for your lips to stop moving.
Did I cut out again?
Okay, there you go. You're back.
I'm good. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what point you made.
StreamYard like went crazy for a minute. Yeah. I said with PS6, if it's like 600, it's going to be harder to get people to even move over from a PS5 they're fine with.
In a weird way, I feel like $600 would be pretty compelling based on today's economy.
600 no disk drive.
Because you'd have to phase out the Pro somewhat, reasonably before 6 comes along, so you can show it at a lower price than PS5.
Well, the PS5 Pro we believe isn't subsidized. So if you subsidize a new generation, it should be cheaper. But then it's like, how do you do that? Because it doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's the thing. I've seen a lot of arguments of, are they even going to care to subsidize?
Maybe it is 800.
Do they need to subsidize going into PlayStation 6?
Man,
and that would be kind of somewhat nutty to see like a $700, $800 like news cycle start off like that. And their attitude is like, well, that's fine. Like, just buy it when you feel like buying it.
2 jobs. Get an extra job.
Get an extra job.
Get an extra job.
That's the modern Ken Kutaragi thing. Like, you guys download Uber Eats. Come on, start door dashing. You want that PS6, don't you? That's at least that's just 50 something deliveries. That's fine. Hey. Just DoorDash for a little bit. You get that PS6, no problem.
To me, this is gonna be one of the more interesting reveals for a system, because I do think a lot of people are quite content with their PS5 right now, especially if you're someone in just the mainstream and you play Call of Duty, you play FIFA, you play NBA. You're gonna look at that and be like, it's more 4K, I guess. I don't know.
Well, surely the pitch will be like probably AI driven to a degree. I'm curious about the user interface out of all things, to be honest. Not even so much games, sure. And I'm sure if they're able to get like, dedicated path tracing stuff on the SoC, and maybe like visually, maybe we'll be very surprised. But I would think that maybe the UI would be a way that they sort of propose this thing as a big quality of life jump. Of like, look at how snappy it is. Look at how useful it is. Look at all this, AI assistance we've baked into the platform, where there's just this easy way to sort of feed it very quick. You can speak into the DualSense 2.0 and it'll launch a game for you faster than PS5 can do it, because it's the way like the voice assistant and commands work on the console right now. It's very rudimentary.
Yeah,
you got to be clear, concise. Hey, PlayStation, it's very like late 2010s voice recognition technology. Like, there's a sort of what's happening nowadays is a very smart and thoughtful AI assistant that they might want to bake into the system.
So maybe that when they put a microphone on the console.
Well, it'd be on the controller, John.
But they can't guarantee you use that exact control. Like maybe use a third-party one or something, or a fight stick.
Oh, they'll guarantee it, because that's kind of the thing on PS5 right now.
They'll make you
DualSense.
Yeah, well, maybe use a fight stick. That's how you're getting around.
Well, if it's a licensed fight stick, then it would be required that you have
it's black market around here.
Well, it wouldn't work probably. That's how they do these things. Come on now. This ain't a PS3. You can't just plug anything into the bitch.
It would have to be something like that because visuals, we just take that for granted as being better now. It's got to be something else. And maybe you're right. Maybe it's the quality of life AI assistance. It's possible.
Yeah, some sort of super dressed up UI. Maybe they do some big advancements with the PlayStation Mobile
Full
app.
backwards compatibility.
Here we go. John saying things that aren't going to happen.
1, 2, 3. 4.
Here we go. John saying stuff that's not going to happen.
I mean, it's not going to have a disk drive, so what do they care now?
John, it will have a disk drive. Stop saying shit like that.
How's it going to work on your Vita too?
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question though. Do you think this company would release a PS6 exclusive? Because there's
Sony.
Well, think about
a game.
Oh, John, that's you.
A PS6 exclusive game?
Because conceivably there is no reason in today's environment. There's really no reason that it couldn't run on PlayStation 5, right? I
feel like Fizzent's a PS6 exclusive.
Okay, but that's like a 2030 something game, isn't it?
You mean at launch? Like, are they gonna do a launch? Oh, I think they have to, because then it's gonna feel like a PS5 Pro again. You got to do, because you have to show off the features of it. I think the AI stuff maybe they bake into the games as well.
It would feel so arbitrary. I mean, because this would be like really like leaps and bounds of like, the sort of dancing around the topic of saying, oh, we need this hardware. This game's only possible on PS6, but yeah, it's like all lip service. You tell me this game can't run on a PlayStation 5? Come on. Like,
it's gonna be tough. There's
a PS4 build of Demon's Souls out there. Like, everything was made on PS4 before it got to PS5.
They would make the decision to just put it on, because I'm sure they could go, hey, this is 4K 60, like native 4K 60 on the PS6. We could have done 1080p 30 on the PS5. We're not even going down that road. Okay, it's just, this is how it is. This is how we want to present it. And I'm sure that's how they can kind of sell it. But you're right. I think a lot of the stuff that we would see on the PS6 as exclusive would probably have run fine in some shape or form on the PS5 or PS5 Pro. So it's going to be that decision from the top to try to sell consoles day one. But man, that's tough, because it is kind of like looking around your studios like, all right, who's going to try to launch this generation for us?
It's tough. And the thing is, if you had asked me like at the start of the PS5 cycle if they would do it with PS6, I'd be like, yeah, because Sony's never been shy of that. They've always been very conservative, generational, the way consoles are. Even PS5 did have PS5 exclusive games, very few initially, but they still did it. But I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if they did either only one or actually zero, especially considering how aggressive they've been lately with just trying to make as much money as possible, which is beyond console, or rather as many platforms as possible. They're much more they're much more comfortable doing PC, trying Switch, now Xbox, obviously in certain contexts. So to think that, like, I don't know, they wouldn't want to sell the game to an install base that's going to be at 100 million by that point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a different Sony versus how they used to be. If anything, I would say maybe one exclusive.
I could see at least one.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing, though, is if all this AI stuff they have baked, it also finds its way over to the development environment, and it just helps them get games done faster, but it's specific for their PS6 stuff. That's the only reason I could even see to justify it, because you're right. It's just such a massive install size they'd be leaving behind. But you got to start somewhere. You got to get these games. You got to get games to move the hardware to then sell more games. So somebody's got to do it. And usually it's the first party.
This is true. It's true. That's the stark contrast. They've never been afraid to do that. They left behind PS2, no problem, for what was arguably their worst PlayStation. Not arguably. In terms of mainline consoles, it did the worst. So they're not afraid to do it, but at the same time, leadership changeover means the company is led in a different fashion.
Oh, what if they have AI tie into trophies in some way and they take trophies to the next level, Ryan?
And in what way?
I don't know. They got to figure it out, though.
John's over here attaching the splashy AI word to a trophy, not knowing what it would be.
Anywhere. Apparently, I can attach AI to anything, and you get you get venture funded and everything. just start throwing AI out there.
Oh yeah, If you're looking for capital, sure.
Yeah, apparently. I just think the overall achievements and trophies and stuff, it's become kind of stagnant. I wouldn't mind seeing something new thrown in there.
Coming from the guy that doesn't care about him to begin with.
Coming from the guy who has the Mind's Eye Platinum trophy, thank you.
When were they ever fun to you? What do you mean? It feels stagnant. Well, were you ever on the grind, John? Were you ever on the
Xbox
grind?
360 achievements when they first showed up?
Yeah, but everybody was back then.
I did the Avatar combo to get all 1,000 achievements.
No, after that first like 2 years of 360, after that, because everybody was into achievements back then.
That's true. Because it was, you know why? Because it was new and it was interesting and it was different and it was, oh, this is cool. It's like system level. It goes along with the games and the profile. All right, now let's figure something else out with them. It just feels like it's just, I don't know, stagnant.
I don't know what they could do with trophies. I'll be honest.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've tried stuff with stars. That didn't work. That was at least something to add another carrot on the stick for people.
Well, that was a reward system, which I guess they didn't like paying out 4% to all their games.
But they also did stuff like their trophy case, and they were like, you get the Jim Ryan bobblehead and all this other stuff.
Okay, but those weren't trophies. Those were digital collectibles, completely separate from trophies. However, there were campaigns where you had to earn a trophy to get certain collectibles.
Yes. So I think, but I almost wonder if that does tie into maybe a social network that they have set up for the PS6. I don't just say PlayStation Home, just throw it out there.
You've done that. You've said that before.
But something like that, something interesting there.
That's always everyone's like big brain idea. They should bring back PS Home. Like we get it. We know. Yeah. PS Home was like 20 years ahead of time. We know.
Yeah. The PS3 had a hard enough time running it. Like at least now the PS6 will be ready to go with it.
I think I don't know. They've sort of missed that window, I think.
Maybe. You won't know until they try.
Got to bring VR chat to PSVR too. That's what they should do.
Do they?
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. I don't know if VR chat, like, I don't know if they're is anyone jumping at PSVR 2 right now to be there?
Or wait a minute, Inzoi. Is that what it's called? Inzoi?
Is it? Oh, that's like the new age Sims game.
Yeah. Well, it's online though. It's like massively multiplayer online, right? Yeah. Bring Inzoi.
I feel like there's a lot of stuff they could do with like a social setting for the PS6, and they could tie their AI stuff into it for investors.
I'll give me the trophy cabinet. I'll take it from PS Home.
There you go. Something like, I don't know, something more to do with it. And clearly they're interested to do stars and bobbleheads and statues and stuff.
There was only a singular bobblehead, and it was your favorite man.
Unless they really developed that entire thing because they thought NFTs were going to be big, and then they weren't, and then they shut it down and pretended like it wasn't for NFTs. You can go either way with it, though.
That's what the digital collectibles were, an NFT play that wasn't really NFTs.
And maybe they were like, "Oh wait, this isn't as big as we thought. It's not NFTs."
What is on my hold on? What's on my place? My cabinet. I'm gonna be so bummed when they take this off my profile.
Oh, yeah, they will, won't they? Yeah.
My top 3 cabinet display items is a fat PS3, a PlayStation Eye, and a PSVR 1. And then the second shelf is a PSVR 2, a PS4, and then this it's like I don't know what the hell this is. All right, well, I don't know what that is. And then there's the Returnal Astronaut, and then Toro Inoue, and then I do have a PS Home collectible, a Pocket Station, a PS Now collectible because I just failed PlayStation products apparently, and then a Nutella nut jar, but it has Toro on there in the shape of Neon Cat. All right, John.
Wow. Sounds like a party over there.
What do you? I would ask what you have, but I think you're not that cultured. Maybe just
I don't know if I got the second shelf.
Just Jim.
It's just a bunch of Jim Ryan bobbleheads.
We got to move on to our next story.
Okay.
All right. So I saw you've been covering this on Newswave, and I have as well, because it kind of got a lot of attention within the past 2 weeks. But it is the Stop Killing Games campaign, which has been around for a while. I'm sure you knew it was around for about a year or so, but it pretty much died off and never gained a lot of traction. But recently it blew up, which was partly due to a lot of internet drama, but Whatever the case is, it got up to now 1.3 million signatures. Now, it's important to clarify this: the Stop Killing Games campaign is a consumer movement in Europe where it's collecting petitions right now under the European Citizens Initiative. And that's the process that you can take in order to propose new legislation to those in the EU. And it very much is the proper channels. That's how you go about it. You need 1 million signatures in order to actually propose something to EU regulation. And Stop Killing Games is asking for just fair and reasonable ownership of games in every sort of situation and context. It doesn't necessarily mean a live service game has to stay live service and online forever concurrently. It just means that in the case of a single player game, make sure it stays in the hands of the owner. If there's DRM attached to it, give it an end of life plan, basically, where it untethers from DRM. No delisting. If a game is online, at the very minimum, have some sort of playable offline client. Even if you're loading into a dead world, as long as you have something that you bought and paid for. That's basically what Stop Killing Games is. It's as simple as Stop Killing Games. So well, we've got that. I will talk about the statement in a second, but this thing was pretty impressive to see it cross over the finish line. I didn't think they were going to get there.
No, because they were stuck in like the 700,000 range for a while. Like they were building up, and then they just kind of couldn't get past that 750 or so. And then all of a sudden, you're right, there's like all this internet drama around stuff, but that in itself, that Streisand effect, blew up online, and it's crossed a million. It's almost, what's that right now? 1.2 or 1.3?
1.3. That's the thing. Like, yep. Initially I saw the drama and I'm like, this modern age shit, I don't really care about this stuff. And I thought I'll look into it a little bit. So is that Pirate Software guy who, I guess he's a developer, but he streams, and he was downplaying the whole thing and said he didn't like it or whatever the case is. And now there's like a lot of grievances being aired out from that guy, but you're right. It's like, it's a full on Streisand effect. Like I didn't think this thing was going to go. It sounds harsh to say, but I didn't think this thing was going to go anywhere because, John, I'm sure you see the same thing I see. People will send you change.org petitions all the time saying report on this. And it's like, well, if I did that, I would report on petitions every goddamn week. You only talk about them if they sort of get to something.
Right.
And so it's in a way, the Streisand effect got this thing up to 1.3.
Yeah, I think it's a good initiative for people to be pushing anyway with these games disappearing. Anthem, I know, look, Anthem, I'm not here to tell you it's a good game or anything, but I think it's a game that should be around 10 years from now for people to do their little the YouTube retrospectives and be like, actually, Anthem wasn't that bad of a game. And, but it should be there for them to log in and at least show what it was. But it's going away in January. They're going to turn off the servers. The game needs a server call to just start up. Even if you're going to play it completely single player, you still need it to authenticate and log you in. So stuff like that is frustrating because maybe you are someone who bought Anthem when it first came out. Maybe you really like the game. He's like, yeah, it's a fun game. I like it. Maybe I'll go back to it in so many years, check it out. Well, it just won't be there anymore. Even though you bought the game outright from the publisher, they can just take it away. It's a strange concept when you really think about it. It's like, wow, they can just completely take away the product from you remotely. And you're about to get into the response from the publisher, which I'll leave there. But I think this is something that will feel much more important when earmuffs, Ryan, when the digital age is here and it's all digital games and there's no physical media and the publishers have complete control over what goes in and out.
Mm-hmm. So the statement that was released was from the Video Games Europe lobby, and it is a lobbying group in Europe. And big surprise, most of your favorite well-known big publishers are on the board, including every manufacturer, Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft. So they did put out a statement saying that we appreciate the passion of the community, but blah, 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 blah. We understand it can be disappointing to players. The industry ensures players are given fair notice and respect these changes in compliance with local consumer protection laws. They say private servers are not always a viable alternative option for players. There's protections they put in place to secure players' data, remove illegal content, and combat unsafe community content would not exist, and they would have to leave. That would leave rights holders responsible. Many titles are designed from the ground up to be online only. In effect, these proposals would curtail developer choice by making these video games prohibitively expensive to create. We welcome the opportunity to discuss our position with policymakers and those who have led the European Citizens Initiative in the coming months. Yeah, they oppose it, basically. It's a liability thing. They're playing the liability game, which, you know, I mean, I the thing is, like, I experience this stuff a lot with the PS3 days, PS3 Online, the videos I do every year. That video series nowadays, half of it is private server communities, because those games were all sold via disc. They all have offline clients, even when you can't log in. There's some sort of like, there's something there that is, you have a build that is yours, and people eventually, you know, reverse engineer packet captures, and they figure out how the game used to work, and they just point DNS to their own servers, and they get the game up and running again. And those communities police themselves. I mean, that's just when you give, when the game is theirs, they do what they will with it. And that's, we've been doing this for years. It's also a thing on PC, right? It's obviously, this is just BS from them. They want the control, the ownership, protecting the IP, and having all this stuff on their terms. But I mean, if they're that concerned about liability, they can just include that in the terms of service, which is absolving them of liability.
All of a sudden, they don't know how to write a EULA. Oh my gosh, how are we going to add another line to that? You ever start it up and you got to I started the $20 Pro Skater 3 and 4. He's got to hold down the right stick. I'm reading all that stuff, right? You just scroll through it, and it takes forever to scroll through it because it's just line after line after line. Like, they can't add something to their magical EULA. I saw, what was it, Ubisoft and this isn't new to them, it's been there, where if they take a game away from the marketplace, they tell you to destroy your physical copy. But like Rockstar has it in there, Sega has it in theirs. We better check Sony's EULA, Ryan, because if you have Concord, you're gonna have to bring that out, and you're gonna have to break that thing in front of us.
Andale.
Yeah. So it's so funny. Like, they ask about all these crazy things you should do in these EULAs. All of a sudden, they don't know what to do. Like, how can we edit this EULA to include all these problems we have? Also, the idea of live service games being prohibitively expensive if we go this way, and there'll just be less of them. Oh no!
I know.
Oh no! What are we gonna do?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's also like probably not true. Like, if you just have it,
I kind of hope it is.
Well, I know. It's funny when you say it like that. Everyone's like, yeah, and. Yeah. But I mean, in theory, if you're making a game from the very onset, if you decide like there's an offline client that we make with the game, don't tie it to a server login. You know what I mean? There's obviously, if you have that foresight making the goddamn game, you can not paint yourself into a corner that the game has to be completely taken down the second you want to walk away from it, which, let's face it, is happening 9 times out of 10 for every goddamn game that comes out nowadays. It's also insane how quickly games are dying too. Like,
oh yeah,
the window is so short. I mean, not even so much the whole Concord 2-week thing. Some things do die in less than a year.
Interesting though, if let's say all this works out and they have to put all these regulations on them, but it happened 3 years ago, Sony would have had to have left Concord up in some way. Isn't that crazy to think about?
That would be something. Yeah. Well, but that's the thing.
Still have to be available.
Well, like Concord is like an online login. So like, even if you have a disk, you just cannot see anything in the game. In theory, under Stop Killing Games, it would mean that, there's no hard login screen. Like, if you're offline, you get into the game, and even if you're loading into a blank map with one free gun, or like, at least there's something there. That's the proposal, is just making sure that there's something for the user to interact with.
You know what world that no one really talks, or at least in our space, doesn't really talk much about, but they should be the most angry about all this and should be signing this thing like crazy, are the people in the mobile game space. You know how much money some of them dump into these games? I mean, I don't know how you are at Pokemon Go. I assume you've dumped some money into that game. But you think about, there are games where there are quote unquote whales that dump tens of thousands of dollars. I hate to say it, maybe $100,000 plus some of these gacha games, especially ones out of Japan with like popular IPs, like your Dragon Balls or Bleach or whatever. Genshin Impact, I'm sure, is one that has made a stupid amount of money from the gacha elements in it. But some games just go away. They just shut them down. That's it. That's it. It's over. You have the app on your phone and nothing happens when you access it because that's the call to a server. And it's crazy to me that isn't come up at all, because you feel like you should be able to have an offline mode where you can at least just play the game, because they still have things you do in it. Even if it's card game, you do card stuff in it or whatever. I can't believe that has not come up at all, because that is so much money that's basically just wasted. Years of a person's life, tens of thousands of dollars gone.
You phrase it like that.
I mean, it's insane to think, because you look at a phone and it's a single app, and it might be like, I don't know, a Dragon Ball game or something, and it's like, oh, it's shut down. That's it. It's over. It's like, what?
No, I mean, no, you make an excellent point. I mean, John, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure mobile has like the most delistings, or well, maybe not compared to PC, but it's an absurd amount of delistings.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, from like, if we're talking like from like what, early 2008, like when the iOS and Google Play Store really sort of kicked off, like since then, I think it's thousands of games that have just they're lost to time. They might have been archived. I know there's efforts out there and there's groups out there that are archiving those games, but I think are plenty that are definitely lost to time for sure.
They're gacha games that are really popular and they have private servers, so I assume most of them would be able to stick around. But there are at times, I sometimes see it on like X or whatever. It'll come up and oh, it's shutting down. And there's a ton of comments that's like, hey, I spent a lot of money on this. What do I do? Nothing. Nothing. Yeah. So it's crazy to think about that.
It's a shame. Yeah. Also a good point though. It doesn't seem like the mobile space has that kind of, push and advocacy for preserving and cataloging those experiences. I mean, you were joking, but you are right. It's like, these things should be there. They should be, well, this is kind of gets into what the Video Game History Foundation is trying to do, which is making these games accessible for research purposes and putting them in libraries. But it like that stuff should be there for the YouTuber 5 years down the road that wants to do that retrospective. It's it's history. So it should always be there for, at the minimum, research purposes. Not even so much the fact that if you buy something, you should have it. So I would love to see this thing actually go through. I think there's an uphill battle. I mean, because Ross, one of the leads on the initiative, said that like they need a bit of a buffer here because there's going to be signatures that'll get invalidated.
1.4.
Yeah.
Like 1.4 million.
So this thing gets through, right? Let's say they hit that and it does get proposed. You're going to have a video game lobbying body, and then for all intents and purposes, gamers here speak to people that don't understand this issue at all. And
here's the thing I'd be more concerned about, Ryan, is to get that number of signatures. It has been, as you mentioned, a lot of online drama stuff. That's like probably one of the easiest things to bring up and use to smear by some of these expert lawyers on the other side. You know what I mean? They're like, look at it. It's just look at it. It's not serious. Just look what they're doing over there. That kind of thing. So that's my one piece of advice is I would get very professional, very quick with this. Once you get 1.4 million, you feel comfortable. Like just like you see the thumbnails. It's always this person from Twitch or whatever who's on every one of them. It's like, you got where you need to be. Let's start focus, like laser focus, because you're about to go up against a wall of money and publishers who do not want this to go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're basically going to be fighting an extreme uphill battle, big video game, as they call it. And they will fight tooth and nail and use every tactic in the book to make your opinions and arguments completely invalid. So that would be not good. The only thing I'll add here is that this is only for Europe. There is also a UK initiative as well. But the whole idea is that this would have a downstream effect, because if this does go into place, then conceivably that just means globally, because this is global storefronts, basically like Steam and PSN and things like that. They'll just make games like that for everybody, essentially. So Europe often will be the place to do these things in order to have that effect permeate through all the products that are then shipped in the US and things like that.
Does your iPhone have a USB-C port?
Indeed it does, John, and that's a great example.
Yep. There you go.
Indeed it does. All right, moving on. Tokyo Game Show 2025. Just wanted to briefly mention that Sony is confirmed to be there again. It will be the largest TGS in the event's history with nearly 8,000 exhibitors. So good to see Sony going back to TGS. We'll probably see, I presume, a lot of Ghost of Yotei. They'll be having that at the on the show floor, but also probably Marvel Tokon, maybe the China Hero Project games, maybe some India Hero Project games. But it's nice to have Sony back at TGS again.
And there should be a State of Play around then too.
You would hope. Yep, for sure. So whatever they announced prior to that, maybe they'll also bring that too. And yeah, just a little brief call out for TGS. I mean, Sony always is very picky with these live events nowadays, whether it's your Gamescom, Paris Games Week, TGS. You're not E3 season, but it's good to see them at TGS again. That's all I've got for you, John. Those are the big news stories this week. Those are the big ones.
Do you have
Is that the end of your sentence?
No, my headphone cut out again for a second there. Just, so do you have the newer you have the newer AirPods where it cancels out noise?
Oh, was it canceling out just everything?
It stopped canceling out noise. That's how I could tell that they were cutting out, where you can then hear the room. It's like, oh, okay, it's doing that. It's pretty good when it does cancel out the noise in the room. It's this weird silence. Almost you can hear your inner thoughts.
See,
you have PSX going to give it to you as well.
I was going to say, because I don't have new AirPods, because if you remember, the first few episodes of Click R3 were pretty rough with my Gen 1 AirPods that I've still not replaced. And that's why I'm wearing this ridiculous ass thing, because it's the only option I really have.
Oh, you're the Apple guy. What happened here?
I mean, I like Apple products, but I don't buy them all the time. I
don't know. It's randomly like a new studio
for work, but I can't be. That's the reason why I can't be buying all this shit.
Come
on now, John. I gotta buy Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Oreos. PSX, go and give it to you.
Actually, how about we before we do PSX, go and give it to you. How about you tell me how your TMG time went?
Oh yeah, TMG was good, John. Was good. We had our panel on Saturday and our signing. I brought 8 copies of Hannah Montana on PS2, completely sealed, and we did a little giveaway. And I guess the idea was John wanted to bring some stuff to give away as well. He brought you brought an SP, an Elite Series controller, a GameCube.
Sean brought the SP. I brought a GameCube though. Yes,
you brought a PSP as well, right? PSP. Yep. So you guys, I felt a little bit big leagued because I feel like my gift was pretty good, but essentially we did try to give away all that stuff.
You give a lot of Hannah Montanas. You give a lot away.
I
signed everyone too.
Mine was basically the bad prize. That was the funny thing too. Yeah, I brought 8 copies to give away. We gave away all 8. I'm fairly certain all 8 came back later at the signing, and we signed copies of them too,
that was fun.
That was funny. It was a pleasure meeting everybody though.
It was a good time though. It was a good time.
Yeah. And John, what did you buy? Did you buy games?
I got the Shadow Box things.
Yeah, you didn't buy games though, did you?
I don't Shadow Boxes, and I got at Shadow Box, I got 2 of those. Yeah. And then I got some shirts, which were cool. You know what I didn't buy and I should have? Or those PS2 Underground DVDs.
Oh yeah. What they want for those?
Bought them.
$50 or $100?
I thought it was $100 for 50.
I thought it was
$100 for 50.
Okay.
It's $2 a disc.
Those would have been cool.
Yeah, cool. I'm still looking for a lot of demo discs. I think that could be a fun little series.
Oh, well, I'll leave that to you. You go and source the discs.
Hey, I'm the one with the PS2 with HDMI on it. I'm actually doing the real experience here, not this PS3 backwards compatibility stuff.
Oh, God forbid. Yeah, we have some nice looking PS2 games.
Hey, I got a PS2 with the retro gem installed. Don't got to worry about that HDCP stuff that's built in. Nope. I'm gonna deal with any of that.
John, this HDMI stripper I bought from Amazon.
Whoa. What are we breaking HDCP around here? What is this?
Listen. Can you let me catch this felony? This HDMI stripper I bought from Amazon in 2007 has been going strong. This fucking thing has captured thousands of hours of PlayStation 3
of Blu-rays that were copyright.
No, because if you use component, it would have been the same. Who's to say I didn't use component capture?
You just did.
But I could just be I could be lying. I've lied a lot in this episode, obviously.
That was the plan, was to get PS2 demo discs, maybe even PS1. I think mix and match them, doesn't matter. And we do like episodes where we randomly pick, or maybe we have an audience pick a number and we just load it up and see what we get.
Sure. Well, you source the discs and I'll be there. I'll be there, I suppose. We could do that. Otherwise, yeah, TMG was good. I bought a lot of games that I need for videos this holiday season.
Yes, I don't want to spoil any of them because you have some good ones there.
Yeah, well, the video's already up, so they saw.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. What about your PSX? Go and give it to you.
PSX, go and give it to you. This is the segment of the show where we go over something cool, nostalgic, interesting, different, just drop some knowledge for the kids about PlayStation history. Today, John, I actually brought some, and I know this is a podcast here, but I did bring visual aids here for our little factoid, which is the PS1 controller. So when the PlayStation first came out, there was a size difference between the US and Japan. So model SCPH 1080 was bigger than the Japanese PS1 controller, which was SCPH 1010, by about 10%. And the reason being is that Japanese people, generally speaking, were just smaller people. They had smaller hands. So the controller sizes are indeed different from Japan and the US. So I have SCPH 1080 right here. This is our controller in the US. And then here is an SCPH 1010 from Japan. And even from the distance at which I'm keeping them side by side,
I can see it.
Yeah, you can see it. I bring them a little bit closer and you can just get a rough idea of, it's about a 10% difference. It's principally the same exact controller, just a 10% reduction in size. Always a very interesting little fact about the original PS1 launch. And when you hold this thing, when you hold the 1010, it is so tiny.
I was gonna say it looks that's crazy.
Giant man hands holding this thing. It's a very, very little tiny controller. And I believe the sizes are still the same for the PS1 Classic. So if you buy a Japanese PS1 Classic, I think that was true as well. It's still, this like SCPH 1010 versus 1080. But then I hold this big American controller and it feels girthy, feels like a big bag of Doritos, like a family-sized bag of Doritos.
Were there differences in any of the other controllers in Japan versus here, like for PS2, PS3, anything like that?
So that's the thing. This was a very, this is the only time they did this. Japan, fairly certain. Little caveat. Okay. I always work off the encyclopedia here, so if there is an example, I might have forgotten, but otherwise I'm fairly certain. This was the first time that they ever did this, and really the only time. Otherwise, the controllers eventually were just the same size everywhere. They were global from that point on.
Oh, they got 39 PS2 PlayStation Magazine Underground discs, new and used, for $100. 39 of them for $100.
Today I've learned that when I do PSX, go and give it to you, John just hops onto eBay and he stops.
It has it comes with some of them come with the magazine covers for them, and then other ones come with the actual sleeve for the disc and stuff.
I think you missed out on that the TMG deal seemed pretty good. $2 a disc. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I didn't realize it was that good. This actually looks pretty cool though. Like they have what is that? Oh, they have like a Metal Gear one in there too. Wow.
I'm not listening to you, John. I'm holding a controller.
They got a bunch in here. Look, there's one for Kill. Oh, they got the Killzone demo.
I took this out of. Listen, I took this out of my display cabinet to show you. And
it was in your way. Which display cabinet was it in?
The big one. My
the one
nice.
The one with the lights. You want the lights?
Yeah, people have seen
lit up.
Yeah,
okay. I'm making sure it's the lit up one. Okay.
It's out of there. I took it out of the museum for you, and you're over here on eBay talking about PlayStation Underground discs. Disgusting.
How many people have seen that in person?
In person?
Mm-hmm.
But I could probably count the amount of people that have seen that in person. On one hand. Oh shit! That makes me sound like I live alone. And I'm super like like nobody ever visits. Just to clarify, plenty of people come over, but not often they come up here. All right. My buddy's got 2 kids. The kids can't come up here. His wife doesn't give a shit about this stuff. My mom doesn't care about this stuff.
We care, Ryan. We care.
All right, John. Are you done with your personal attacks over here? Can we wrap up this episode? I'm going to eat an Oreo.
Yeah, I might pick up this. I might pick this up.
He's still on this.
I might have to do it. Hey, the good people out there can decide which demo disc we start with. Although I need to see if they're numbered. I think they are.
It should be on the disc.
Yeah, I was going to say they must be on the disc.
They'll also say like the season or whatever season.
Yeah, there's probably. Oh wait, issue. Yeah, there's a way we can go with the numbers. So I can just. My plan was to just go on like the Spawncast Network page and just have a poll and just randomly pick 5 of them or something, put them there, and people just vote for the number. They don't know what's on the disc. Might be like 80, like 22, 43 or something. And you just vote, and we go from there, and everyone's surprised. So
you want to stream them or just record them?
We could record, or maybe we'll just record them. I don't know. What do you think? We can stream them. Record, stream, record. We'll record the first one and see how it goes.
Yeah, good for whatever.
Could be funny. I don't know. We'll see. But that's Click R3 number 27. It's a fun episode. Good episode. Learned a lot. Oreos apparently come in the flavor of blueberry now. So
blueberry pie.
Was it good? Did you try it?
Yeah, it's delicious.
Oh,
John,
wow. Okay, good.
John, there's a whole row missing already.
I didn't see that. Hey, good stuff.
All right.
Good stuff. All right. Well, that's the episode of Click R3. That's Ryan. Check him out in the description as well. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Do it all over again. We'll see you guys then.